Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another short film review. I am almost done with these, at least as far as the live action ones go. I got one more to record after this, so I'm ready. Okay, the one we're doing today is Butter Lamp. This is an interesting film, and I probably should have looked up more about it before I started filming. I usually do that before. But this time I'm doing it as I'm recording, doing multitask. But this was an interesting film. Basically there is a photographer filming Tibetan families, and basically the way it's presented is we see just a family and a backdrop. Like there will be a family standing in front of fucking Disneyland or fucking random ass like Hong Kong or whatever the fuck, and we swap families. There's like this couple, so they swap the backdrop. At first you think, oh, are they actually standing there? Is this a real photo? And then they just keep swapping these backdrops, and it really starts to become so unhuman. Like there's like these little boys like pretending to be in the Olympics, like they're on pedestals behind an Olympic backdrop, like, and the whole time like the human communication here is so fake and so disingenuous. And I think like, cause you see photos like these, I see like framed photographs of like people on their wedding, and it would just kind of be like this very forced photograph, which the whole point of photography, the whole point of filmmaking, is to capture the real aspects of humanity, not to generate this falsehood. Like, and I know like this is a movie, but the whole point of movies is they're acting, they're trying to present a believable humanity. So we get these really fucking gross fake photos that are artificially created, and there are small moments where like we get glimpses of like actual humanity. Like there was this moment where one of the people in the photo, like the guy was saying how he wanted to take her to wherever the photo was. I forget where it was. It was like a sacred place, and he was saying, oh, she always wanted to go, talking about his mom, who he's pulled up in front of this photo thing. And the shitty thing is, like she like is obviously like dementia or something, and she turns around and looks at these buildings and looks at this photo and gets on her knees, starts praying. It's really just kind of like, oh my god, like I feel so bad for everyone in this whole film. I felt really bad for this woman who, god, just shouldn't, religion, man, and that whole thing just bothered me, just watching this grown woman on her hands and knees in front of a fake photo backdrop. And some of it they play up for comedy, some of it is pretty real. The ending is actually pretty great, where they pull the curtain, so to speak, on this backdrop. They finally just move it, and it reveals this landscape of this actually very beautiful landscape that's actually real. Like these people could have stood in front of this landscape, but they're also building like some kind of fucking bridge. Like I don't know if they're trying to say like, oh, look at this beautiful thing that they could have actually been standing in front of, or if they're trying to say, look at this beautiful thing being torn up by fucking humans, as like it's supposed to kind of be like, look at how humanity is eating its own like culture and own like essence of like what it is, in this attempt to create a fake photograph. And the whole point of a photograph, like at the end of the day, those framed wedding photos I've seen in people's houses, they still serve the same purpose. And for a lot of people just looking at it, it's just another beautiful wedding photo, and maybe they thought it was beautiful, but so sometimes it's irrelevant, like what was happening in that moment, you know. As long as you've got that fake golden ticket in your hand, you still get into the chocolate factory. But I think this was obviously trying to tell a different story. It was obviously trying to say that like this is a bad thing, and like there are multiple ways you can look at it. Like I've like some of my favorite photos of myself are photos like in the moment. Like that's the whole point. Like you kind of can't know the whole filming thing. Like when we smile in front of photographs is because we want to look at that photograph and remember ourselves being happy. We smile in every single photograph because we always want to remember being happy. And that is not real. Every time someone says cheese, that's to say, hey, make this thing look unreal. Present this false image that everyone is smiling. And nowadays, but for all eternity, we know if we look at a photograph and everyone's smiling and posing, that's not what they were doing 20 seconds before that picture. That's just something we know now. But at some point, people decided, hey, we need this to look like everyone was happy, and y'all motherfuckers need to be smiling. And that might have been because old war photos, people just didn't smile, and sometimes it was awkward. It was like, oh god, these look so dark. I don't know. But anyway, that is basically my thoughts for this one. I do like the concept. It's just the fact that it was fucking boring. Like, we're just looking at this stagnant. It's all one frame, one type of like, and that is done for artistic effect, but at the same time, that is fucking boring. YouTube vlogs have more cinematography than this Oscar-nominated film, and I'm not dissing it for that. It's obviously trying to do something with that, but at the same time, it's fucking boring. This film was a little bit boring, and for that, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Didn't dislike it, didn't necessarily give too much of a shit about it, but it is what it was. And god, I am coming up at the end of these film review things. I'm just excited at this point. I'm fucking ready. Anyway, thank you guys for watching as always. I hope if you checked out this film, if you did, you liked it, and you enjoyed my thoughts. Anyway, thank you as always. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, with that, I leave you.